Yoma Daf and Gimel. Today's email comes from Sammy Joseph from Chicago. Dear Rebelli, my 11-year-old son AB is in 6th grade at YTT in Chicago. That's where my children went to. He and I started dafing with your recorded share on YouTube toward the beginning of Pesachim. He particularly enjoyed your kutach. We've been hooked since. My parents stayed by us for Pesach. My father watched with us and became hooked also. He now watches your share on YouTube to Chazir after learning the daf with his regular Maggid shir. Unbelievable. AB's been bugging me to send an email for a few weeks to make sure we're formally considered part of MDY. Welcome to MDY, AB. He has also been bugging me to go to Kesher Stam and buy a copy of the famous book, Guy Videlio. He says it's better, it has better stories than Nachman Seltzer's books. We started learning Daf Yomi after the Siyam Shas last year. We were unfortunately not zocheh to pull off making a Siyam on Brachas prior to COVID shutting down the world. Baruch Hashem, tonight, AB made his first Siyam at Shalitz. Mazel Tov. I know you love pictures, so here you go. Here's also a picture of him learning on YouTube after school. Please send regards to Eli Kamiansky, my old roommate, the shekoyach of everything you do, and Amir Hashem will keep on dafing. Sammy Joseph, thank you. So Yoma Daf Nun Gimel, the Gemara tells us that the Kohen Gadol takes the Ketores and he puts it on the coals inside the Kodesh HaKadoshim, not before he goes into the Kodesh HaKadoshim like the Tzdukim do. We learn it from a pasuk, V'nasan es HaKetores alo ish lifnei Hashem. It should be inside the Kodesh HaKadoshim. The Tzdukim, on the other hand, learn from the pasuk, Ki ba'ananei ro'a ala kaporos, that when you come into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, there's already a cloud. So what do we do with that pasuk? We learn that you have to put in the Ketores something called mala oshan. It's a special leaf that you put in there, and it creates a very straight column of smoke that goes straight up. Now, what if you go into the Kodesh HaKadoshim without the mala oshan? You're chayiv misa, because you're coming in without Ketores. The Ketores needs this mala oshan, and you have it minus that mala oshan, so you're going in empty-handed, you're chayiv misa. If you go into the Kodesh HaKadoshim b'shogeg, but you were makter b'mezid, you're chayiv misa. In other words, you know that it's missing one of the samamanim, you're chayiv misa. Now, if you go on purpose, but you have two Ketores in your hand, one has all the spices, one is missing a spice, so you're chayiv misa on the one that's missing the spice. From the word v'chisa, the Gemara gives us 5 explanations of what it can mean. Rav Yosef says that it means to say that you could use the actual bark of the malosh. You don't need the leaf. According to Abaya, the exact opposite. The main part of the malosh is what creates the straight column of smoke. You could also use the leaf. Rav Shesha says it comes to teach us that it's not only in Kippur you need malosh, it's all through the year. Rav Ashi says comes to teach us that if you don't put in the malashon, it's ma'akev, you're not yotze at all. Rava says, if you don't put it in, the chisa comes to teach us to get a punishment. Now, of course, there's a hazar, the warning is before Nadav and Avihu died, as it says in the pasuk, a ra. And when they died, it was already seen. The Einesh certainly came afterwards, because it says, Achrei Mois. But we have to understand, why did Nadav and Avihu actually die? And the reason that our Gemara gives is because they were Moira b'fnei Rabban, they said halacha before the Rebbe that you're supposed to bring a fire by yourself, and even though it came down from Shemayim, the fire you're supposed to add. They were right, but they said it in front of the Rebbe. From the pasuk Vayavei Shlomo Labama Asher B'Givon Yerushalayim, seems like Givon Yerushalayim, we learn from here that all these following people have to walk backwards. Kohen Gadol, when he comes out of the Kodesh HaKadoshim, he walks backwards. Kohanim, when they do their avodah, they finish, they walk backwards. The Levim and the Uchanim, Yisroel, B'Ma'amodam. And a Talmud who leaves from his Rebbe. The Gemara tells us Rabbi Lazar was learning by Rabbi Yochanan. When Rabbi Yochanan left him, he would bow until he couldn't see Rabbi Yochanan anymore. But if he wanted to leave Rabbi Yochanan, he would bend over and walk backwards away from his Rebbe. Rava would walk backwards when he left Rav Yosef, and Rav Yosef was blind until the Gemara tells us that his feet got banged up and he had blood. And they went and they told Rav Yosef, and Rav Yosef said, give him a bracha that he should be the tremendous Rosh Yeshiva in the city. Yeshua Halevi says, after Shemona Esrei, you're supposed to step backwards 3 steps, and you say shalom to each side, and you should stay there right where you are, and don't go back immediately frontwards like a dog who goes and eats his own throw up. And if you don't wait back, you just do Oisei Shalom and then go forward, it's better you shouldn't daven. And what do? You say Oisei Shalom to your left, which is the right of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Abai and Rava both say that when you go backwards, you're supposed to bow. So you step backwards in a bow. We learned that the Kohen Gadol says a very short tefillah as he leaves the Kodesh HaKadoshim. And what does he say? He says that if it's a very hot year, there should be enough rain. Rav Yehuda adds that he says that the ruling of Yehuda, Shevet Yehuda, shouldn't stop. And that HaKadosh Baruch Hu shouldn't listen to those on the way that don't want the rain and they say, please stop the rain. And Klal Yisrael shouldn't need to have parnasa one from the other. The Gemara tells us about this last tefillah that the Oivri Drachim daven that there shouldn't be rain. Reb Chanina ben Doisa was on the way and it started to rain. So he davened, he said, look, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, everybody is peaceful and I have a lot of tsar. And the rain stopped immediately. But once he got to his place, he said, Rabbeinu Shalom, why is everybody b'tzar and I'm all calm? And immediately the rain continued to come down. Says Rav Yosef, you see that the tefillah of the Kohen Gadol didn't work that year against Reb Chanina. He was able to stop the rain. There's a story the Gemara says that one of the Kohanim Gedolim, he was Marach b'tefillah. He had a very long tefillah, although it says he should be very short. And what did he daven? He davened that the Kohanim should have peace and there shouldn't be churban habayis. And they said, what are you doing? We were all worried about you. We started coming in to see if you're alright. Maybe you died. You're not supposed to do so. Please don't do that again. It says in the Mishnah, after they removed the Aron, they discovered the famous Evan Shasiya, and that's what they would put the shovel of coals on. The Evan Shasiya was 3 finger tall. The Kohen Gadol would take the dam apar. If you recall, there was a Kohen standing there mixing it so it shouldn't congeal. He took that blood and he went to the same place that he would do the k'tayris. In other words, between the badim, between the poles of the aron, and he would throw the blood and he would do one with the back of his hand down, and then the rest 7 when his hand was on top, this part of his hand on top, and he would throw it as so, and they would go one after another. And he would count. For the first one, he'd say achas, and then the rest of the 7, he'd say achas v'achas, meaning the one I counted already plus another one. And he'd take the vessel with the blood and he'd put it on a base of gold, and then they'd give him another kli of blood from they give him the sire lechatos. He shechted it. He was mekabel the dam, and he'd repeat the same steps that he did with the blood of the par. And then whatever was left over, he put it on another base made out of gold. Rav Yehuda said there's only one base. So how did he get along with one base? The base had the blood of the bull, and then when he had the blood of the sire of the chatos, he would replace it and take the blood of the bull and do all the zrikas like we described before. When he was done the zrikas of the bull, he would put it down on the base, take that of the sire, and he would repeat all the steps of throwing the blood. When he was done, he would take the blood of the bull and pour it into the bowl of the blood of the goat, and then you take all that and pour it back into the bowl of the par so that it should be really mixed up well, and then you do the zrikas with that. Reb Lazar says in the first lashon and the first lashon of Reb Shimon bar Yochai that the Aron went to Galus to Bavel. Like it seems like in our Mishnah it says that they took the Aron. Reb Yehuda says no, it was Nignaz, and so the second lashon in Reb Shimon bar Yochai, it was Nignaz. They buried it right there and then in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Have a wonderful day.